Dyslexia is not a handicap, it is actually a talent to be envied, a skill. Dyslexics grow up using a thought process which enables them to think much more creatively and more broadly than others. However, this ability is often accompanied by difficulties in reading and writing, especially in cases where their talents have not yet been recognized. When this situation is detected and taken into consideration, dyslexics can solve their problems and cultivate their creative faculties. This video will show how this works. You will see how dyslexics become people who have fun with reading and writing. This is what words look like to a child who has difficulties in reading strange, incomprehensible symbols. These strange symbols convey an impression of how a dyslexic feels. Disorientated amidst unfamiliar signs and symbols whose meanings are often guessed and not systematically determined. What do these signs have to do with language? Apparently nothing. But even a non-dyslexic can relate to this confusing situation. Watch this mathematician and listen to him.
Converge a conclusion of xn plus 1 equals f of xn for n equals 0, 1, 2, etc. Contrary to the fixed point and results in a simple statement. Providing that the sum of the derivative of x star is less than 1, the following is valid.
Es existiert eine Umgebung zum
A domain exists for the fixed point of x star for all initial values x0 from this domain. The result is that xn converges contrary to the fixed point for n versus infinite. We could precisely prove this statement mathematically. It's easier, though, when it's illustrated in graphics.
Did you understand anything? Were you able to follow the lesson? Could you see a correlation between the signs, symbols, and what the mathematician was saying? Could you express his words in such symbols? If not, you are just as mixed up, perplexed, or bored as a dyslexic child trying to learn how to read and write. According to estimates, 15 to 20% of English-speaking populations are dyslexic in varying severity. Millions struggle with reading, writing and spelling, and the number is increasing. Many feel they are dumb, stupid or slow and are unaware it is dyslexia.
Seit 30 Jahren habe ich eine Praxis für analytische Kinder- und Jugendlichen.
For 30 years, I've had an office for analytical child and youth psychotherapy, and over again I've encountered children who really have dyslexia according to Ron Davis. When I got a hold of Ron Davis' book in 1996, it was a revelation to me. I finally understood how the children perceive things. They perceive entire entities, and these children cannot write sequentially what they recognize and what they see. They have a three-dimensional perception which is 15 to 20 times faster than the average person, and the dyslexic's perception takes place in pictures. That's why they aren't understood at school. Our school system is not at all adjusted to highly talented picture thinkers like dyslexics.
The Davis method makes strong usage of your power of imagination. Not everybody has such a power. That's why we want to show you parts of the dyslexic's world with the help of modern computer animation. It is common knowledge today that people mainly think on two levels: verbally in words and non-verbally mainly in pictures. When people think verbally, they utter words in their mind and assemble them to form sentences. People think at the same speed they speak aloud, which is up to 200 words a minute. Non-verbal, that is thinking in pictures, is much faster. There is no need to wonder about the old adage, "A picture is worth 1,000 words." Word thinking is linear and sequential, like when you speak. When thinking in pictures, ideas grow associatively, which means you are thinking in many different directions. People think more or less with both methods. A dyslexic usually thinks non-verbally. Their mental pictures are similar to three-dimensional virtual films, which can be produced by computers nowadays. Dyslexics don't need this technology. For them, the cinema inside is real and alive, and not just an illusion. Visual thinkers can let their imagination run wild in the realm of their fantastic imaginations. They can play with it, change it, move it, or take a walk in it. And this is where you can find the great talent of dyslexics. They can experience their imagination as reality. When verbal thinkers think of a tree, they think of the word and the sound, tree, an abstract symbol which they learnt to associate with a real tree. Dyslexics, however, imagine a real living tree. They can look at it from all sides and perceive it in its entirety. Of course, this picture thinking conveys much more than the word tree the verbal thinkers think. Dyslexics find their versatile world of imagery very pleasant, real and positive. But when dealing with two-dimensional written language, only one aspect of this multi-dimensional thinking actually corresponds to reality. And this is where the dyslexic dilemma begins, when they run into those strange two-dimensional symbols. Letters, words, or other abstract symbols like notes or numbers. Dealing with letters becomes increasingly difficult the more abstract the word is, and the stronger their ability to experience their imagination is. Because a dyslexic is not able to match a symbol of an abstract word like put, is, or was with a mental image, he gets confused about the blank picture. Because of his highly developed three-dimensional perception, a dyslexic does not try to grasp the word as a symbol, but instead as an object. Within no time at all, he has experienced dozens of three-dimensional views of the word image. Except for only a single one, they are all wrong. The result? The dyslexic is even more confused because imagination no longer corresponds to reality. His imagination perceives something his eyes don't. The perceptual ability assessment determines whether or not the client is capable of thinking in pictures and moving around the world of his imagination. Almost everybody can picture a piece of cake. In order to picture an altered version of the cake, most people have to turn the pictured object around. They have to delete the first picture and make another one for another view. Most dyslexics can move their mind's eye much more easily than others can in order to see the cake from multiple perspectives. This skill becomes a problem when they read. When dyslexics see a letter of the alphabet and experience a moment of confusion, their imagination produces dozens of different views of this letter within no time at all. That is the problem. The dyslexic's mind doesn't see what his eyes see, but what he thinks his eyes should see. The result is a distorted perception and storage of false information. Davis's orientation counselling allows the dyslexic to match reality and imagination. The mind's eye is trained to find a point where reality and imagination correspond to each other optimally. This training has the following result. The disorientation can be turned on and off at one's own will, and therefore the dyslexic symptoms can be controlled. Orientation counselling is the first step towards overcoming the problem.
What happens when we correct the dyslexia, we're only eliminating a negative aspect of something. Now, when people used to think about dyslexia, they thought dyslexia was the learning disability. Now that we really understand what's going on, the learning disability is just one of the aspects of dyslexia. It's like you have a gemstone that has a facet that's ground in the wrong place, and then all you're doing is you're regrinding the gemstone so that that facet is now changed and it's missing. The gemstone is still there. So as a matter of fact, if you look at it from a slightly different perspective, every coin has two sides. And for the dyslexia, on one side is the disability side, and on the other side are all of the positive aspects. We're not throwing away the coin. We keep the coin, but what we do is we change one of the faces to be the same as the other. So all you're left with after you eliminate the negative side is the positive. Yes. And because you're no longer struggling with the positive or with the negative the way you used to, there is more time and more attention that shifts to the positive side. What we're looking at here, the ability to perceive mentally in multi-dimensions, being able to think with not just sound, but also with pictures and hearing and every sense that we have is now incorporated into our thought process. The quality of that thought is far superior to sitting there talking to yourself. So what we need to do in the long run is to enhance that genius. It's not to destroy it. It's to find it and to cultivate it and to bring it out, not just for the poor child who's suffering in school with dyslexia, but for the benefit of all of mankind. How long can mankind afford to waste genius like this?
My name is Richard Lavoie, and I'm the director of the Eagle Hill School Outreach Program based in Greenwich, Connecticut. In a few moments, we're going to fill this room with an audience of people who will have the opportunity to experience what it's like to actually be a learning disabled child. 6 to 10% of the children in the United States today suffer from learning disabilities. This translates to hundreds of thousands of children and hundreds of thousands of families that are affected by this disability. In order to understand learning disabilities and what the child goes through, we of course must first understand what the term means. And when we talk about learning disabled children, we don't talk about what the child is, but we talk rather about what he is not. It's a definition of exclusion. In other words, give me 5 children that aren't functioning in the classroom. Take away the child who's mentally impaired or mentally retarded in some way. Take away the child who has a primary emotional disturbance. Take away the child who's not had the opportunity to learn, and take away the child who has some modality deficit, who perhaps is deaf or blind. The child that remains is a learning disabled child. That is, the child is not functioning in school, and yet his modalities are intact. He's had the opportunity to learn. He's not disturbed, and he's not retarded. One of the most common misconceptions about learning disabilities is that it's a school problem, when in actuality it affects every waking moment of the child's day. For that reason, we've called together a group of people today that view the child through very, very different eyes. We have a social worker, a psychologist, a recreational therapist, a regular education teacher, special education teachers, and most importantly, parents, teachers, and friends of learning disabled children. And those people will have the opportunity to walk for a mile in the shoes of the learning disabled child and see firsthand the frustration, anxiety, and tension that those children experience in school every day. The rules are very simple. First of all, this is not a role-playing activity, it's what's called simulation. Now, if you don't want to participate in this, if you would prefer to sit this out and you don't want to be called on, if you don't like being embarrassed in front of people and being asked to do things you can't do and being made to feel really uncomfortable, okay? That's tough. Because one of the things that you've got to gain as a parent or a teacher dealing with learning disabled people is this, the idea of problem ownership. You see, the learning disabled child isn't learning disabled just so he can mess up your English class 8th period every day. He's not learning disabled just to complicate your lifestyle at home. He has no choice. So, we want everyone to participate. The first rule. The second rule is please no role playing. We don't want you to try to act like kids. The material will make it difficult for you to function. There is no need for you to try to make it worse than it really is, okay? And I am going to have the bias that many mainstream teachers have, which is that LD means lazy and dumb, and if you just push the kids and motivate them enough, they can learn. It's if they choose not to. Again, please just follow along with me. Don't take anything personally. We'll have a good time doing this thing. Nobody's going to get hurt, but you will get a chance to see what it's like to be a learning disabled child. What color is the booklet, Carol?
Blue.
What's it say in the front of the booklet, Kit?
Alphabet City.
What's it stand for, Carolyn? What does it stand for, Carolyn?
I don't know.
What is it? It says at the bottom of the book. What's it stand for, Maria?
Frustration, anxiety, and tension.
Frustration, anxiety, and tension. What kind of animal's top of the page, Cara?
Bird.
Turn to the next page. What color is the first page, Jane?
Blue.
What does it say in the first page, Carol? The first page, Carol. Earth to Carol, come in, please. The first page. Earth to Carol, come in, please. Raise your hand if you thought that was funny. Yeah, everybody likes that except who? Except Carol. Anytime you as a teacher or a parent decide to use sarcasm with kids, understand that you created a victim. Now that little throwaway line that I threw at Carol, I will forget within 5 minutes, you will forget within 5 minutes, but it's very likely to stay with Carol for the rest of the day. Those little throwaway sarcasms we use. Jody, what color is the print in the first page?
Black.
What does it say, Lee?
Activity 1.
Was that what it says, Stephanie?
Yes.
Turn to the next page. What color is the next page, Lee?
Yellow.
What kind of animal is top of that page, Jody?
Tiger.
That's not a tiger. Carol, what kind of animal is top of that page?
It's a cat.
It's a cat. Famous story with a catnip, Maria. Famous story with a catnip. Famous story with a catnip, Maria. Famous story with a catnip. Give me one famous story with a catnip, Maria. Okay, does anxiety affect performance? Does anxiety affect performance? Of course it does. According to this, Maria doesn't know one story with a catnip. Give Maria a call tomorrow, she'll give you 30 of them. But in this situation, with the anxiety we've created already, with the anxiety that we've created in a short period of time, Maria's unable to get that information out. Famous story with the catnip, Carolyn.
3 little kittens.
Famous story with the catnip, Debbie.
Garfield.
Famous story with the catnip, Cara.
Incredible Journey.
Famous story with the catnip, Kelly. Melissa. Karen. Kim. Merritt. Okay, let's take a look at what's happened now. I accepted the answer I don't know from Kelly. What were the next 4 answers that I got in a row? I don't know. See, we have to really put this under a microscope and look at this. You people have been learning disabled now for 6 minutes, and many of you have quit. Not 6 years, not 16 years, the way the LD child lives, but 6 minutes. And many of you, once I began accepting the answer I don't know, how many of you decided if he calls on me, I'm going to say I don't know? Raise your hands. Yeah. Many of you have decided if he's going to accept I don't know as an answer, I'm going to stop trying to think of a response and I'll just say I don't know. Okay, Jody, what kind of animal is that? Top of the page again?
Cat.
Down below, what kind of animal is that, Lee?
Duck.
Stephanie, what kind of noise did a duck make? Famous story with the duck in it, Nancy. Famous story with the duck in it, Karen. You were ready for me, weren't you, Nancy? Famous story with the duck in it, Karen. Famous story with the duck in it, come on. Famous story with the duck in it. One famous story with a duck in it, Karen.
I can't think
famous
of a
story with a
story.
duck in it. It doesn't take a lot of thought, Karen. Famous story with a duck in it. One famous story with a duck in it. Nancy knew one.
Yeah, well, Nancy's better than I am because I can't think of
Debbie,
a
famous story with a duck in it.
Donald.
Famous story with Famous story with a duck in it, Car.
Make way for duck.
Famous story with a duck in it, Kelly.
I was going to say Donald Duck.
Oh, she took my answer. Don't you love it? Melissa, famous story with a duck in it. Turn the page. Karen, what kind of animal is that? Top of the page. I'm sorry? A pig. What kind of noise did a pig make, Kim? Famous story with a pig in it, Merritt. Famous story with a pig in it, Merritt. Famous story with a pig in it, Paula. Down below, what kind of animal is that, Car?
Swan.
What kind of noise did it make, Debbie? Okay, see, what you've got to see sometime is you've got to see Fat City from where I'm standing. Because I've got 15 people looking up at me, and I say, what kind of noise does a swan make? And everybody takes a sudden interest in their shoes. They look down and good. They're both on there. In other words, what happens is, after 9 minutes of a learning disability, you people have already bought into one of the credos that controls the life of the LD child, which is this. If I can't see the teacher can't see me. And so what you do is you look away, because we all know that it is the human reaction to anxiety. The first human reaction to anxiety is to look away from the source of the anxiety. And yet, what's the first thing we say to kids when we yell at them? You look at me while I'm yelling at you. You look at me while I'm spoiling your life. There are so many things we do as parents and teachers that don't make any sense. How many people here insist that kids look at them when we yell at them? I do all the time. And it makes absolutely no sense, and it's contrary to everything we know about the human reaction.